remote dog training collar system for 3 dogs. It should have come in a box that looks something like this. So you want to open it first and check the inventory. Take the cover off and get rid of it because you don't need it right now. You need some room to operate. Open up the box, take an inventory. You have instructions. You can read those later. You also have a transmitter and 3 color-coded receivers. Batteries, an antenna for the transmitter, and you have 3 sets of prongs. The long prongs are already on the collars. They're for long-haired dogs. And the short prongs are for the short-haired dogs. If your dogs have short hair, you take the long prongs off of the receivers and you put the short prongs on. There's also a high-tech test light for testing the shock. I will demonstrate that. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is put the batteries in the transmitter. The 9-volt goes in the transmitter. The positive side is the small one. It goes on the right. Stick it in. You put the cover on, and it should flash, showing you that it has power. Now we want to match up the receivers with the transmitter. We're going to do red first because that's the first button. So you're going to pull the receivers out, open up the battery compartment, grab a battery, stick it in flat part towards the spring. When you stick it in, it's going to beep. Now, you put the battery cover back on. Pay attention, this is how you activate it. You got a blue dot there, a blue dot there. You're going to hold the red button down because the collar is red. You're going to see this start to blink. Blink. Once that's blinking, you hold the dots together. You hear a beep. That flashes. Now they're matched up on the same frequency. So you can test it by pushing the button for the collar, pushing one of the tone buttons, one of the 4 tone buttons, and then one of the 4 shock buttons. To test the shock, you take the high-tech test light, lay it over the prongs like that, push one of the 4 levels of shock, and the light should glow. That means it's shocking right now. If you don't want to take the light's word for it, then you can pinch your fingers together like this, hit the button again. Yow! It's shocking me now. Now this is not meant to be a taser or a stun gun. It's not going to stop your dog in its tracks, but it will serve as an additional training tool to help focus your dog on your voice, which is what it's meant to do. Okay, so this one is set. Now we're going to do the same thing for the next button, which is the yellow. I'm going to grab the yellow receiver, pull it out of the box, open up the battery compartment, grab a battery, flat part goes towards the spring, it's going to make a beep, battery cover goes back on. We're going to hold the yellow button down, get a flash and a blink from the transmitter, hold the dots together. A beep and a flash indicates that they're matched. Now we can push yellow. We should get a beep. The light comes on showing us that it's activated. We can check the shock with the high-tech test light. It glows. It's getting shocked. You can touch it if you want to, but you will feel a shock. Position this one here. We're going to go to blue, battery cover, battery, a beep, a flash. Hold the blue down. We get blinky lights on the transmitter. Hold the dots together. Blinky light on the receiver. They're matched. Tested by pushing a tone. Let's push this one now this time. A little bit louder. A little bit longer. Test the shock with the high-tech test light. It glows, showing it's working. I'm not going to touch it this time. Now, you can always switch dogs by pushing the color-coded button. We'll push red, light goes on. When light goes off, it's matched to this one. You can hear it. I believe you can see the light. We'll go to yellow. Light comes on the transmitter. Light goes off. You should be able to see the light activating when I push the button. And it beeps. And now blue dog is a bad dog. So I'm going to press blue. Light comes on the transmitter. Press the tone. Light comes on and it beeps. That's the way it works. Now, fit. Let's make sure that you know how to fit these collars. Again, if you have a short-haired dog, you'll just unscrew these. Are they too tight? No. Put the short ones on both sides if you want. That should be tight enough if you have a pretty strong grip. If not, a little wrench. When you put this on your dog's neck, you want to make sure that you can fit one finger between the neck and the collar, not two. If you can fit two this way, it's too loose. You may not get the connection between the prongs and the dog's throat, so you may not get a reaction to the shock. If you're not going to use the shock and you're just going to use the tone, then you can loosen up the collar a little bit. You don't want to leave the collar on your dog too long. When you're not using the collars, to save batteries, you can just take the batteries out, put everything back in the kit. That should cover everything. You have the 4 levels of shock and the 4 levels of tone. To get the maximum range out of the system, you screw the antenna on to the transmitter. And that should do it. Any questions? Email me.